Hello traders, good afternoon, good morning from wherever you are. This is Mahali Mathman back again with technical analysis for the week. And as usual, this is Traders Hub YouTube channel, and we'll be posting trading educational content and weekly technical analysis, anticipate where. And so without wasting time, let's jump into the charts. Yes, as usual, we'll be starting with DXY. This is dollar index. Specifically, this is US dollar index, and it shows us where dollar will be trading. And as usual, we are doing yes, as usual, we'll be doing top-down analysis, and today we are starting from daily time frame. Yes, as you can see from daily time frame, ever since price printed this low, we shifted and broken structure to the upside, and currently we corrected to the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level, found a support. Currently, you can see that immediately when we go to the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement, we have we've had an impulse side. And so currently the levels that I'm watching on DXY daily time frame is 100.63. That is my upside target, and probably maybe we can still have a correction deeper to 61.8 or 70. That is very unlikely to happen. So I'm inclined to the upside. So for you to get a clear picture, we have to go to the lower time frame. So this will be heading to 4-hour time frame. Yes, on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that price immediately after it took this low, it has shifted to the upside. And very unfortunate that this chart that we are being provided by TVC doesn't really show us what happened there. So I'm switching to capital.com, and so that we can get a clear picture of what has happened. Yes, we can see that price printed this low, corrected, and then again flashed to the downside. Immediately after we flash to the downside, we can see that price has pushed to the upside and broken structure to the upside. And so currently we have had a very good impulse on a 4-hour time frame. And for me on this time frame, I'm getting that we will be correcting probably to around 6.8 investment level before we continue and probably take these highs. Show you exactly what I'm talking. After plotting our Fibonacci retracement level, we can see that there is this liquidity here. We have two internal liquidity. So for me, I'm anticipating this week probably the dollar index to at least correct to these discounted levels before we push to the upside till the daily time structure. Yes, I don't think we can get any further analysis on the lower time frame, because you can see that immediately after we broke structure to the upside, we have been consolidating. Been just consolidating in this range. So probably full break and push to the upside, or we could break to the downside and go for the correction or retreat that I'm anticipating before we push. Yes, and maybe someone will ask, why should we retrace? Why does this price has to retrace? As usual, price doesn't move in a straight line. the price moves, you can say it moves on waves, or yeah, usually the price will push to the upside, then correct a bit, find more support, and yeah, probably other buyers to get a discounted level before we push to the upside. And that is the sequence. So currently we have had that impulse phase. We are currently waiting to have this correction to at least 61.8 and take these two internal liquidities before we continue to the, yes, that is dollar index. And as usual, we don't really trade dollar pairs of their own. We usually trade dollar denominated pair. For that reason, we'll be heading to EURUSD, which is the pair that is my favorite pair, the pair that I trade more. So, as usual, we are going to start with top-down analysis, specifically from the daily time frame, and we can see that immediately after the price pushed to at least 1.20772 levels and broke structure to the upside, we've seen that the price the price has pushed to the downside and broken structure or changed the trend to the downside. And as usual, after every impulsive phase, there will always be a correction phase or another phase. Yes, and so the price retraced to at least 61.8 Fibonacci levels and swept. You can see that price swept this internal liquidity on the left, so starting to shift the trend of the price to. And for us to clearly see whatever is happening, we have to go to the lower time frame, which for this to get the clear picture of whatever is. For that case, we have headed to the 4-hour time frame, and you can see that the price is, you can see from here, the price broke structure to the downside, but immediately after it broke structure to the downside, it corrected to the premium level before again, before again pushing to the downside to continue structure. Yes, and so currently we are in this structure, and so after every impulsive phase, we usually anticipate to have at least a correction for at least 61.8 Fibonacci retracement before we continue to the, yes, you can see that the 61.8 is in line with this internal liquidity, and so probably we could see this price correct to these levels before continuing. And we all know the notion that says for you to make any profit, you have to buy low and sell high. So selling low won't make you in this bearish trend, in this bearish market. We have to wait for the price to resist to higher levels for us to get more premium levels or discount for us to show. For that case, I'm anticipating that this market will correct at least to the it before we continue. But for that to happen, the lower time frame has to support that. So let's shift to the 1-hour time frame. See what we have here. Yes, you can see that immediately after we had this break of structure, and this was last week. Yes, wait, need. And this was last week. Immediately, as usual, every impulsive, we have to get a reaction for continuation. And yes, last week I was anticipating correct at least as usual 1.8 level or 8.1 before we flash to the downside. And you can see that we had this internal liquidity, which I was anticipating that we will sweep before we continue to the downside, but unfortunately price will do what it wants. So let's head to the downside to get, yes, exactly as usual. You have to sell high. Yes, you have to sell high, make any profit. Buy, you have buy low. Yes, I was anticipating that we could get this sweep of liquidity, and for us to get a good risk reward ratio before we continue. This is what I was looking for, the price to at least swipe that internal liquidity and then continue. You can see, yes, if this had to play out, would have gotten around 1:4.5 risk, but unfortunately it didn't give the entry that we wanted. And for me, anything below 1:4 risk reward ratio doesn't call for it. So the price, you can see that the price flashed to the downside and another break of structure. Yes, I agree. One can say that how comes you had another correction, and that was on Friday, but I didn't capitalize on it. Neither was I looking to capitalize, because whenever first I was looking to capitalize on this move. Okay, and another thing, immediately when we flash to the downside, you can see that the price on 1 hour time frame has failed to close to the downside. You see, yes, the price has failed to close the body below this level, meaning that there's a lot of support, and there are a lot of buyers here looking to the upside. That's why it will make sense for me to wait for price to come this to at least this level, yes, before push. Yes, I don't want us to fixate our analysis to specifically lower time frame analysis in minutes when we are just starting out the week. As you know, the geopolitical situation that is around the Iran war, yes, and yes, the geopolitical tensions affecting these currencies. And as you know, during the weekend, we usually have they're called rollover spreads, which are very high, and so I don't think makes a in-one analysis and base the analysis this time frame. And so, without wasting time, let's continue to the BTC. Yes, BTC has, well, Bitcoin has been giving us a very nice, and you can see that clearly. We have had an impulse to the downside, correction, impulse again. Now we have corrected, and you can see that we corrected to the T around 61.8 Fibonacci levels. But there is a lot of I can say that there is a lot of things is happening on BTC currently, and to be honest, if we are to follow the daily structure, the last break of structure was from this level to this level. Okay, let me remove the level. These are levels which are not significant to this market analysis. Yes, if you are to follow the daily structure, this is the this is the law that printed this high, and so we are anticipating for price to at least push to these levels before we continue to the upside, if there is any room for that move. But according to the macroeconomics and Bitcoin having cycles, I'm anticipating that Bitcoin will be flashing to 60 levels, then next to 50,000 before we head to 40,000. So we don't really focus on predicting what the market really do here. What we do in this market, we react to this market. Okay, we react to these markets and follow the trend. So according to the daily structure, this is the structure. But for price gets here, a lot of things have to happen for a time frame. So let's jump to the 4-hour time frame and look to and anticipate where Bitcoin will be heading to next. Yes, let me remove last week's analysis before we continue. Yes, and as you can see, the last break of structure to the upside is from this low to this high. Okay, and so after every break of structure, we anticipate that there has to be a cut at least to 76.1. But we have to bear in mind there is the bearish structure, higher time frame, which entrumps any bullish structure which will be on the lower time frame. Okay, and so yes, this was a valid low, but now that the structure has broken to the downside, clearly we can see that the structure has closed below this price point. And take this as change of trend or trend change, or it can be a sweep of liquidity, but it makes sense to take it as character change, okay, or trend change. And so, as usual, whenever we have break of structure or whenever we have an impulsive phase, there will always be a correction. Okay, and so currently this Bitcoin analysis, this Bitcoin chart, I'm anticipating that probably can retrace higher to 1.8 levels and take all these internal liquidities before we push to the down. You can see that you have liquidity right here, other liquidity right here. These are all internal. Have let's go to the downside, to the lower time frame. See what is happening. Yes, well, last week I this was on Thursday. I had a very good setup. As you can see that the last break of structure to the downside. Okay, then you can say that we retrace, but this I personally liquidity price was just building liquidity before touching that liquidity and taking the price to the, and as I anticipated it, this was just in internal liquidity which was engineered, and on Thursday had yes, we took this liquidity, internal liquidity, and you can see that on 15 minutes we had we had two good entries, but unfortunately this was an Asian session is on, and again during London session I had an engagement with, so when I came back price had flat because of that, but I still have my trades which have been holding on these levels. I'll share with you. Yes, I will share with you there. And currently, it is running on around, I think, 800 to 9. So I'm not sure what the price is doing currently, but I'd prefer to have this price on these levels and to look for opportunity for any movement. Yes, Bitcoin. Yes, last but not least, let's check gold. Let's check what it has been doing and probably anticipate where it will be. Yes, on the daily time frame, we can see that price has shifted to the downside. And currently, we have these significant levels. Yes, you can see that price flashed to the downside here. Traced to the least premium levels, and again that started to flash. Yes, so other than this liquidity, we have this liquidity to the downside, and this major go to the 4-hour. Yes, as I anticipated last week, was anticipating that we will have this liquidity, be it before we get. Yes, we did get swipe, volume swipe. Yeah, actually last week. Yes, we swipe this liquidity again, came and liquidity again to the upside and flash it to the downside before providing that flash to the 1 hour time. Yes, immediately after the price swipe to the downside, the price gave us not a pleasant entry here. You see, I didn't capitalize. I am very choosy when it comes to taking positions. Any position that I'm taking has to tick a lot of checkbox, and most importantly is a swipe of internal liquidity. So let's focus on this price action. You can see that immediately after price broke structure to the downside, it retraced. Okay, it retraced and flashed liquidity to the upside, so it flashed again to the. And so whenever we swipe liquidity, usually we print a liquidity block. And so this was a very strong liquidity. Okay, and so as usual, after every break of structure or after every impulsive phase, there has to be a corrective phase, and it is during that corrective phase we look for this price. So as to get a clear picture per time frame, you can see that we had this internal liquidity here, and I was anticipating that upon swiping this internal liquidity, get an entry, but unfortunately I couldn't capitalize again because it was an Asian dip, and again this setup was very this retracement premium level, having again I executed this trade wasn't really. And so currently I am watching these two levels. I'm watching for this price to continue, take this low before we press a higher time frame, or we could probably start that retracement on this level, a higher time frame before continue. Yes, traders, and that's my analysis for the week. And just a quick reminder, this is a Traders Hub YouTube channel where we'll be posting trading educational content and weekly markets technical analysis to anticipate where the price will be moving. And so just a quick reminder, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned